Hi, Jamie Allen Bishop with Soul Heart Entertainment here. Today we're going to be dealing with EFT tapping for holiday anxiety. I just wanted to go over a little bit about what EFT is, and then we'll go over how to do EFT, and then I'll walk you through an EFT session. So EFT is based on a 5,000-year-old tradition of accessing our chi, or the meridians in our body, and keeping those meridians clear so that vibrationally we're in sync and alignment with universal source energy, and that we're feeling at peace and full of happiness and joy. So it's a fantastic idea behind the tradition. What it does is it clears the blocks of our emotions. So emotions are held onto us by our, let's say, the top half of us, right? Our thoughts, feelings, and emotions show up in our body. And when we have emotional blocks or emotional triggers, if you will, that's when we need to access those to release them. And so through some languaging and through tapping physically you'll be tapping on your own body, we can very easily release some of the stuff that we've held on to. Now, there's a couple of things I want to just touch on. One is you can never tap into your body something negative. You can only tap out what is already there. The other thing is that for me, it's a beautiful way of allowing yourself to be the conduit for all the other people in the world, especially for those that you care about. So if you hear the little beeping in the background, that's my bird. So for universal energy and accessing, what we do is we access our past, our present, our future self. We access our ancestors, paranormal entities that surround us, our gods, our goddesses, everything, all energy source in any kind of vibrational field, on any parallel in any universe. Okay, so that's kind of the idea behind that. So it's a little bit out there, but I really, really like how that feels when I am doing the tapping for myself, because it doesn't just feel like I'm shifting me, it feels like I'm shifting everything and everybody and all of the experiences across the world. So it feels really, really powerful. And I know that I'm a really good person. So when I tap, I know I'm doing good in the world. So it feels super, super exciting. Powerful, but humbling at the same time. So let's just talk a little bit about the actual points. So what we do is we start with the karate chop, and with the karate chop, it's going to be about halfway between, right in the middle of your palm area on the side. And I like to do both at the same time because, again, we're talking about the 5,000-year-old traditions. And in this particular case, we have yang and we have yin. So for you, it's going to be the opposite. So it's the right side is our yang self, or our masculine side. Our left side is our yin self, or our feminine side. So to me, it helps keep that energetic balance between the two when we start with the tapping with both hands, okay? So we're tapping both hands and using both sides at the same time. Karate chop first. Then we go between the eyes. We go next to the eyes and then under the eyes, okay? So it's kind of like right on the bone part of the eye socket, okay? Right at the eyebrows, right at where the crow's feet would be, and then right underneath, okay? And then the next place is underneath your nose, and then underneath your mouth. So there's 3 more places. Okay, so the next places are right at your collarbone. So if you finger your way across your actual collarbone. It's just like 1 inch down from there. So right at where the muscly, kind of the thicker part starts to become more pronounced, right? Then underneath your arms, it's if my thumb is in my armpit and I just stretch my hand as far down as possible, it's kind of like right in the middle, okay? It happens to be right where the bra line meets the body. So I have a tendency to tap a little bit harder here just because I want to feel it through my bra strap. But if that hurts, obviously don't do it. We don't ever want tapping to hurt. There's no reason for that. Plus, when we do it a lot, you know, you could bruise yourself, and definitely we don't want that. The last point is to the top of the head, and that's kind of like right in the middle of the top of the head. And again, we don't want to do it hard. It's just a super gentle movement. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what all these meridians mean. So the karate chop is all about our here and now and what we want to accomplish in the world or during the session, as it were. The eye socket ones are all about our third eye chakra, okay? The mouth ones are about our throat chakra, and the heart space ones, or the, you know, the collarbone and under the arms, are about the heart chakra, okay? Then we move up to the crown chakra, okay? So we're kind of focused on the top half of the chakra system, which also happens to be the most connected to source, okay? We have then the lower three, which are a little bit more about our grounding and how we show up on Earth and how Earth serves us as far as the energetic fields they're in. For our purposes and for EFT purposes, we want to deal with the top half of our chakras, mostly because that's where our belief systems lie. That's where our energetic beliefs lie, okay? So with EFT, what we're going to be doing is we have, okay, so we go into what we want to accomplish, then we access some of the negative beliefs that we're thinking. Now, if you're not actually thinking the words that I'm saying as we go through the actual practice exercise, don't worry about it. Repeat them anyway. Say them out loud anyway. Because one of two things are going to happen. One, you don't feel it at all on any level in any way, but you might know somebody who feels it. And maybe they feel it really, really deep. So you can be the conduit for helping them energetically release it. The other thing that could happen is that we access something that we didn't even know we were carrying with us, okay? And that's kind of when we have those aha moments, and they show up as really profound, exciting experiences in our life. The next thing that we do is we say all the negative thoughts, we're tapping on it, we're helping to release, you know, at least for me, every time I do this, I think to myself, good God, I know that's not true. Why is that the stuff that's coming up? Or why am I thinking that? That's so not true for me, right? But if it's showing up on some level in some way, we are a vibrational match to it, or it wouldn't show up. Okay, or we know somebody who is, right? So just think about it that way. Then the third piece of it is that we release. We release all of those things back into the vibrational earth. I like to think of releasing anything negative that comes out of anybody, to me, goes back to Mother Earth, because Mother Earth can purify anything. She's magical that way, right? She turns the deepest, darkest, messiest stuff into beautiful, expansive life. So I send all my stuff to Mother Earth because that's what feels good to me, because she can transform it. So let's talk just really, really quickly about how this is going to go. So for me, I'll give you an example. For me, I have anxiety around the holidays, especially in relation to travel. So we're going to do it as if it's just for me. And I'll take you back to this idea that my mother was really, really, really anxious when we traveled, anytime we traveled. Now, most of our lives, everybody came to us, but every so often we would go on a flight somewhere to visit family members. And every time we went on a flight, my mom just was, I mean, anxious to the nth degree. Okay, or whatever that phrase, whatever that terminology is. So she was just overly, overly anxious. Now, what that ended up showing up for me as is I would try so hard to make everything right. I would try so hard to, experience or make it easy on her and try to think of everything so that she didn't have to be frantic. I would try to, perfect everything. That's a trait within me that is, the not good enough trait, right? And all of those things are part of that not good enough platform, right? Because do you think that any of them helped my mom's anxiety? Not so much. Not so much. That was her issue. That was her challenge to get over. But me as a little kid, I held on to these ideas that, well, I can't do it good enough to make mama be, calm or be her normal self during these travel points. So anyway, so that's kind of where we're going to go with it, and I'm going to create the languaging around it. So if you don't feel it in your body, that was the other thing that I wanted to mention. So before we do any tapping, just so that you're hyper aware of where it's showing up in your body, how it feels, the depth of how challenging it feels to you, what I would like you to do is think of something. It doesn't have to be travel at the holidays. Think of something that creates a lot of stress or anxiety for you and bring it to mind, call it to mind, and rate it on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is it doesn't feel like any anxiety and 10 is it's the worst anxiety ever. We want to get a memory or access something that feels as close to a 10 as is possible for us. So when you're thinking of the memory that's coming up, that's why that travel memory came up for me, because that's one of the memories that is really, really hard for me, because that's where I wasn't being good enough for my mom, right? So, and that's kind of where we're going to go with it. But what I'd like you to do is you access your memory. Just take a minute. Think about something that brings you to as close to a 10 as is possible. So something 8, 9, 10 range, something that creates that uncomfortable anxiety feeling within you. And now scan your body and just to make a note of where it's showing up in your body. Where are you holding on to that anxiety? Okay, for me, I hold on to it somewhere. I hold on to it mostly in my stomach, but I also have a little bit of it that shows up in my throat chakra. Okay, not speaking my truth, or trying so hard to make everything come out just right, right? So I can already feel just talking about it, of course, it's going to bring it up. So, and that's part of the reason why we do the EFT, is because it brings up things that we're holding on to that we don't even know that we're holding on to still. Okay. So for this, we'll start with the karate chop, and just know that we're doing this for all parallels, all universes, all source energy, all human beings, all women especially, who struggle with holiday anxiety. Okay. That's who we're going to access this. And we'd like to call in our angels and guides, God, source energy, to help us go through this, to act as a conduit or act as a guide to what to say and how to say it in order to have the most profound impact on our bodies and our energy and our vibration and those who are connected to this, which is everyone. So even though, and here's where you start to repeat after me, even though I feel anxiety at the holidays, I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. Even if I always feel anxiety at the holidays, I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. Even if holiday anxiety always brings me pain, I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. Okay, so here's where we start our tapping. This anxiety, when I feel holiday anxiety, I feel not good enough. When I think about all of the things to do, I feel like there's not enough time in the day. And that makes me feel less than. That makes me feel not good enough. Top of the head. It makes me feel not good enough. Holiday anxiety makes me feel not good enough. Now this is giving me head to toe goosebumps, so I'm just going to tap on all of the points saying the same thing. Holiday anxiety makes me feel not good enough. And this is where you're repeating after me, all of these words. Holiday anxiety makes me feel not good enough. 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 Under the arms, holiday anxiety makes me feel not good enough. And when I feel not good enough, and when I feel not good enough, and when I feel not good enough, I don't act like me. I don't say things that sound like me. I don't do things that I would normally do. And the things that I do make me feel bad. I feel guilty. When I feel guilty, it makes me misbehave. And when I misbehave, I feel guilty. And I feel shame. And if I feel shame, I'm not going to behave very nicely. I tend to get defensive when I feel shame. I tend to get defensive when I feel shame. I get defensive when I feel shame. And when I feel guilty, I act mean. I sometimes push people away. And I sometimes have zero tolerance level. And I sometimes have no patience for them. Because they're irritating. Because they make me feel less than. Because they make me feel guilty. Because they make me feel shame. And so I think it's all their fault. And when I feel like it's all their fault, I feel guilty and shame again. Because I don't want to blame everybody. But I have these feelings that feel yucky. And these feelings show up as tummy trouble. And I almost always get a cold after visiting with family. And it shows up as uncomfortable. And when I feel yucky, everybody around me feels yucky too. And then I feel guilty again. And then I feel shame again. And then I feel like it's all my fault. It's all my fault. The anxiety around the holidays is all my fault. When I feel anxiety around the holidays, I feel like it's all my fault. But maybe this is just a story. And it's a lousy story. And I give myself permission to release this lousy story and embrace the truth. And the truth is, I am good enough. The truth is, I do my best. The truth is, I always show up. The truth is, I always do the best I can. The truth is, I am good enough. The truth is, I love my family. The truth is, if I didn't love them, I wouldn't show up. And sometimes when I don't show up, I don't love them any less. And it doesn't mean I don't love them. It means I need to take care of me first. And taking care of me first feels really good. Because when my cup is overflowing, I can overflow goodness into the world around me. And when I flow goodness into the world around me, everybody sees my best side. And everybody feels the best part of themselves. Because I can see the best part of themselves also. I can see the best part of them. When the best part of me is showing up, it's easy to see the best part of them. It's easy to see the best part of them. And when I take care of me, I don't feel anxiety. I don't feel anxious. Because what will get done will get done. And that's okay. Perfection is non-existent. We do the best we can under the circumstances that we're living in, and we feel good doing that. We feel good showing up for ourselves. We feel good showing up for our family. We feel good showing up for society. And we feel good showing up for everyone on every planet, in every parallel, in every universe. And so it is. So that's tapping. Check in with yourself, see where you're at. My anxiety went from a 9-10 down to a 2-3. So I know that it worked. During the course of the tapping, I felt it in different areas of my body. It really affected my stomach a lot. It felt really butterfly-y and like that, bleh, it's a feeling that I recognize as discomfort and pain. So I was releasing some of that. It came up to my heart chakra. And then when we started to say the words about accepting ourselves and taking care of ourselves first, that like broke my heart chakra open wide. So it felt really, really clean and pure at that point. Oftentimes when I'm doing this on my own, by myself, just between me and nobody else, I have a tendency to let all of my emotions come through, and I cry like crazy. So if you cried, it's a beautiful release of emotion. And if you didn't cry, that's okay too. You still created a lighter experience in your world just by acknowledging some of the things that we said. Okay, so going from that feeling of not being good enough to knowing that you're doing the best you can. And we all know that logically, but when we tap on it, there's something that shifts in our energetic field where we can attract more of the goodness, of the positive vibes from ourselves and other people. And I feel like, for me anyway, when my vibration is higher, the negative people aren't around much because they just aren't attracted. We're not vibing at the same frequency, right? So even in a room full of people, like at an office party or something, if there's somebody that I normally may not interact with, but we're vibrationally equal at that party, it's so fascinating to me how that works. So it might be something that would be a, significant aha moment in that time. So perhaps just acknowledge and notice what happens for you over the course of the next 3 weeks. I would absolutely love to hear from you to find out how the tapping affected you. Tapping is something that is best when used on repeat. So maybe the next time you watch this video, maybe you input your own story and your own words and phrases, and maybe the way that it works for you would, kind of what it has a tendency to do is it has a tendency to take us down the rabbit hole of memories. So if it were me and I were specifically going to that place where my mom was in the airport and she was really high anxiety and it made me feel not good enough, and maybe it would trigger a memory about not getting there in time, or getting spanked maybe for not sitting still long enough, or who the heck knows what it would bring up in my experience. I've done tapping on that one a lot, so it does have a tendency not to show up in my world anymore. And I have so much more patience for my mom when she travels, right? To me, it's super cute that she gets so anxious. And by me tapping for her and us, it's amazing how much more calm she is. So anyway, I invite you to experience more tapping. I'm going to make a series of videos, so hopefully you can join me for those. And in the meantime, I would love to know what you would like tapping for. So send me a message, and maybe I'll create a little free series for you. All right. Mwah. Blessings. Thank you for being here, and may your holidays be anxiety-free. Talk to you soon. Again, Jamie Allen Bishop with Soul Heart Entertainment here. Bye for now.